I have a dentist appointment in 3 weeks, and I have been thinking about it every day since I booked it. Not because anything is wrong, just because of the specific combination of the bright light, the small tools, the person who is professionally trained to notice every mistake you have made in the last 6 months, while being too polite to say anything directly about it, and the cost. The specific, deeply personal cost of finding out that something is wrong with a tooth and sitting in that chair while someone explains what fixing it will involve, financially, in a tone that suggests they have had to have this conversation many times before. I booked the appointment because I have been putting it off. I have been putting it off because I already know what they are going to say. I know what they are going to say because I have been making the same choices for the last several months, and one of those choices involves a specific brand of chocolate biscuit that MS is not going to name, but that MS has been eating almost daily since discovering it. And somewhere between booking the appointment and now, I had a thought. Did my ancestors ever have this problem? Hi, I'm Marin Still, and today I went looking for the dental records of people who lived 30,000 years ago, and what I found made me furious, and also slightly hopeful, but mostly furious. Here is the thing. Your ancestors had extraordinary teeth, not good for the era, not decent considering the circumstances, genuinely, structurally excellent teeth that modern orthodontists and archaeologists have looked at and noted with the specific combination of admiration and envy that professionals reserve for work they cannot replicate. Christina Warrener at Harvard University, whose work on ancient dental plaque, yes, actual ancient plaque extracted and analyzed from prehistoric teeth, has produced some of the most detailed records of ancestral oral health ever assembled, found something that should not surprise anyone, but somehow does. Prehistoric hunter-gatherer teeth, excavated from sites across Europe, Africa, and Asia, show almost no evidence of dental caries, the cavities that quietly ruin modern mouths, the thing that costs you money and dignity in equal measure, sitting under a bright light, while someone with a small mirror explains what a crown involves. Almost no cavities, for 300,000 years. And then something changed, and the teeth got dramatically, catastrophically worse. And the date of that change is very specific and very revealing. The change happened approximately 10,000 years ago, when humans invented agriculture. Alan Cooper and Laura Weyrich, working at the University of Adelaide, published a landmark study in 2015 in the journal Nature Genetics using ancient DNA extracted from dental calculus. That is the hardened plaque your dentist scrapes off twice a year with a tool that should not be as alarming as it is. From human remains spanning 7,500 years of European prehistory. What they found was a clear before and after story written in teeth. Before agriculture, diverse oral microbiomes, low rates of decay-causing bacteria, almost no cavities. After agriculture, the oral microbiome collapsed into a much narrower, more destructive community dominated by Streptococcus mutans, the specific bacteria responsible for tooth decay, and cavity rates exploded. The transition happened within a few generations. It was not gradual, it was a catastrophe, and it happened because of what changed in the diet. Your prehistoric ancestor did not eat sugar, not the way you eat it, not refined sugar, not bread, not pasta, not the specific brand of chocolate biscuit MS has been consuming with problematic frequency. They ate meat, fish, fibrous vegetables, tubers, nuts, and some fruit, seasonal, whole, nothing processed, and critically, they chewed, extensively, hard foods, tough foods, foods that required sustained jaw work that modern food, which is almost universally softer and easier to break down, simply does not demand. That chewing did several things simultaneously. It produced saliva, and saliva is one of the most effective natural antibacterial environments your mouth can create. It mechanically cleaned tooth surfaces through abrasion. It kept the jaw and teeth in constant functional use, which maintains tooth structure and gum health in ways that are very difficult to replicate artificially. And crucially, it did not leave behind the fermentable sugars that feed Streptococcus mutans and create the acidic environment in which cavities form. Peter Ungar at the University of Arkansas, whose research on human dental evolution has examined teeth from dozens of hominin species across millions of years, notes something archaeologists call the dental wear paradox. Prehistoric teeth show heavy wear. They were being used constantly, against hard foods, for decades. But they show almost no decay. Modern teeth show almost no wear. We eat soft food, we barely chew, but they decay constantly. The two things that seem like they should correlate inversely actually track together. More use, more abrasion, better health. Less use, less abrasion, worse health. Your mouth was built to work, and you are not letting it work enough. But here is the part that MS finds genuinely funny, in a slightly painful way. Your ancestors were not doing nothing about dental hygiene. They just had a completely different set of problems to solve. The issue for a prehistoric human was not decay from sugar, it was wear. Extreme wear, eating grit-covered food, chewing dried meat, processing animal hides with their teeth as a regular tool. All of this wore teeth down significantly over a lifetime. Archaeological finds routinely show prehistoric adults with dramatically flattened molars by their 30s and 40s. And so some of them improvised. Research published by scholars examining dental remains from ancient populations in North Africa and the Middle East has found evidence of deliberate toothpicking. Small grooves worn between teeth by the repeated use of a pointed implement, probably a twig or bone sliver, to dislodge food particles. Evidence of this practice has been found in Neanderthal remains at Cima de los Huesos in Spain, dating back approximately 430,000 years. 430,000 years of toothpicking. The chew stick, a small branch with one end deliberately frayed by chewing into a soft brush-like tip, appears across dozens of documented cultures worldwide and is still used today across parts of Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia. Salvadora persica, known as the miswak or toothbrush tree, produces chew sticks whose antimicrobial properties have been studied and confirmed by modern researchers, including a team at King Abdul Aziz University, who found that miswak use produced plaque reduction comparable to standard toothbrush use. So your ancestors were brushing their teeth with sticks, and the sticks worked. Here is where it gets even more complicated. The Industrial Revolution, which gave you refined sugar at scale, and the subsequent explosion of processed food across the 20th century, created a dental health crisis so severe that by the mid-20th century, the majority of adults in industrialized countries had lost significant numbers of teeth by middle age, a statistic that seems impossible until you look at the actual data, which is genuinely alarming. The introduction of fluoride into water supplies, the mass adoption of toothpaste with fluoride, and improved dental hygiene practices pulled cavity rates back significantly over the latter half of the 20th century. Not to prehistoric levels, nowhere near prehistoric levels, but enough to prevent the kind of wholesale tooth loss that was quietly considered an inevitable part of aging for most of recorded history. Which means that the toothbrush, the fluoride toothpaste, the twice-yearly dentist appointment with the bright light and the small tools, and the financial conversation, all of this is not civilization improving on nature. It is civilization trying to compensate for the damage that a different part of civilization did to your teeth in the first place. You are not brushing your teeth because your body needs you to brush your teeth. You are brushing your teeth because you eat things your body was never designed to eat, and brushing is the closest approximation of what your teeth used to get naturally from 3 hours of chewing dried mammoth every afternoon. Your ancestor at 45 had teeth that could crack nuts, worn flat, yes, heavily used, absolutely, but present, functional, nobody's. My dentist appointment is in 3 weeks. I have already decided to eat slightly fewer chocolate biscuits between now and then. Not because it will make a meaningful difference at this point, just because of the specific, very human need to feel like you are doing something, even when the damage is mostly done. Your ancestors understood this feeling too. They had a stick for it. Hi, I'm Marin Still, and now you can never unknow this.